Hello and welcome to the Locker Room Podcast. I'm your host, Zain, joined by my co-host, Sully, and our guest for the... Oh, we don't have a guest this week. We don't have a guest. We're rolling. I'm not cutting this out. Sully, what's up? How you been?
Good. Just dealing with quarantine.
You been watching the Champions League?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I feel like there's so much more hype usually. This year it's kind of like...
No, man. You put on the crowd sounds in the back, and it's not bad. It's like...
the same. And even people, I feel like just not as many people are, actually watching and following this year. I don't know why.
I feel like more people are, bro. I feel like it's big entertainment. Yeah, I feel like it's big entertainment.
It is, but I don't know.
I feel like people watch this more now because they're just like sitting on their asses, basically.
Yeah.
And it's like easy. Like football's just accessible, right? Anybody can watch it. You have like stupid people who have like, or not stupid, but like football stupid people can just watch it. They just go into it. It's chill. Football's such an accessible thing, and I think that's why it's so popular. Like you look at the World Cup, man. Like how many people watch the World Cup and don't watch football for 4 years and then watch the World Cup again? It's just an accessible thing. Like you couldn't do this for like.
Watch the Manchester United and and Liverpool.
Yeah.
And people.
Oh, you wanted to say City. You wanted to say City. It's almost close for the derby. We'll touch on City later. But no, I think football. That's what separates football from something like cricket or basketball, which are very like country centric. Whereas football is pretty global. I think every country has like some pretty good football presence, or soccer, as the Americans say. Love our soccer. Actually, fun fact: in Australia, they also call it soccer. Even though like American football isn't a thing, in Australia we have our own type of football, which is called footy, which is like is a tangent. It's like a ball like this big, and it like bounces. Footy's fun. Footy's it's quite a physical sport. But yeah, we call it soccer as well, and the Australian national team is called the Socceroos. Right. Anyways, that's enough baffling. Let's hit. Or babbling, whatever. Let's hit the Champions League. So first game in the restart was City Madrid. What'd you think of it?
Pretty hype match, to be honest. Pretty big. I don't think there was really you didn't go into the match expecting anyone to win. You didn't know what way this was gonna go.
Honestly. It was open. Yeah, it was open. It's been 6 months basically since they played it, right? So it's pretty open.
Gone either way, but no, I feel like the football that was actually in the match, that was quality football. Both teams.
Most of it.
Well, Vertonghen.
The headers. Yeah. Okay. Let's All right. So let's talk about the match overall first before we jump into players. So obviously it was if anyone forgot, it was 2-1 on aggregate in the first leg back in like January at the Bernabeu, and City scored 2 and 2 away goals, obviously, because it's the Champions League, so that was big. So City were statistically favored, right? However, after the restart, Madrid looked like an amazing team, right? They didn't drop a game. They were clean. They were decisive. Like, okay, they weren't always the best to watch, right? You didn't get the most entertaining football, but they got the job done. They got the job done every single time. You knew that you were gonna get in a game. You're gonna get something out of Benzema or Asensio, who came back at the end, or any of those players. Even Hazard started to play. Obviously, after an injury, he was better. So that's why I think everyone came into this game. We're like City were favorites-ish, but everyone kind of came into this game as just like, it's been so long.
I mean, statistically, for example, you look at possession, it was really close. It was 55.
Yeah. I remember watching this at the end of the first half. It was like, what, 51-49?
But I feel like City had an issue with finishing that match.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, having 20 shots and only getting 2 goals in a match, that's,
No, I think that's the thing, right? It was the biggest tell of that game was obviously first Manchester City usually dominates possession, right? There's not really a team in the world that when they play up against City never gets dominated in possession. City has never had, I think, in Guardiola's Man City career, he's had one game where the opposing team has had more possession than him.
Yeah.
Fun fact, which was Chelsea City, the first time they played when we won 2-1. But it was a really close game, right? And the issue is that what we saw is City created chances but couldn't really capitalize on them, and Madrid kind of just got outplayed in the midfield.
Yeah.
They would string these passes together between, I mean, we'll get to it later, but between Varane and Militao, or Militao, is it Militao or Militao? I think it's Militao.
Sure.
And then to Mendy.
They'd mess up in that.
Yeah. So even when they didn't mess up, right? Even when they're just stringing passes back, it was just sideways or backwards, right? Because that midfield got absolutely bossed.
Yeah.
Kroos, Modric, and Casemiro. Casemiro had maybe the worst game I've seen from him in about 2 or 3 years. Casemiro was terrible that game. And Kroos and Modric, you know what you're getting out of them, right? Like, the legs aren't there anymore. So a younger midfield that's more nimble, I think it was Gundogan, De Bruyne, and Rodri, right? Was the midfield? And Man City's midfield just bossed Madrid. So even though they weren't capitalizing on those chances that created, I mean, De Bruyne played, I remember, two chances in for Sterling, which, if Sterling on a different day, Sterling scores both those goals. This game could have
pressure, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. But this game could have easily been like 4 or 5-1.
I think that's what causes Varane's mistakes as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about Varane because we've been putting it off. Obviously, one of the best defenders in the world. He's a fantastic World Cup winner, 3-time Champions League winner, fantastic player. What we saw out of Varane, I mean, I saw. I think it was who was it? It was I think it was Julien Laurent, ESPN analyst and pundit, who made a comment saying that every player makes horrific mistakes. Varane is smart. He made 2 in the same game that they were already losing.
Yeah.
I guess so, right? I guess so. But
I think what happened was, you know, Varane didn't used to be like Real Madrid's defender. He used to be Ramos, but now it's turning into Varane. He's being put on the spotlight.
It showed that's exactly right. Exactly right.
And I think he lacks a little bit of experience being in the spotlight. He's not used to it yet.
Okay, I would disagree with you there. I think when it comes to Varane, I think he's fine with spotlight. He played fantastically in that World Cup final. He's a top quality player. What Varane doesn't have is a good tactical brain, where he knows exactly where he needs to be. For like PK, right? PK is an older defender. He's still considered one of the best, even though every year, you know, as you get older, you deteriorate a bit. PK's biggest strengths don't deteriorate because they're his positioning and his awareness. That's mental, right? That's what Varane doesn't have. That's why when Varane plays with someone like Ramos, who is, world-class defender, but has so much experience and so much intellect, I guess, he's like kind of commanded, right? He's like Ramos tells him where to go. And obviously, if you didn't remember the first leg, Ramos got sent off, right, from a red card. And this game, they didn't have Ramos. And Varane isn't that mental player. So you saw him making these mistakes that he wouldn't make if Ramos is there. Because he's just not in that, he's not used to being in that position, right? And I think that's the biggest thing. It's that we saw a Varane without Ramos, without that big leadership figure next to him, which is normally there. Well, but funnily enough, I've seen a counter to this argument, which is that when Varane plays for France, he plays usually with Lenglet or Umtiti, and he's senior to them, right? But I think with Madrid it's different.
For Madrid it's different, and I think that's because of Zidane. Because Zidane is Zidane, you know what I mean? Like, he will expect you to know what to do.
I mean, so is Deschamps. Deschamps is pretty scary too. These French managers are pretty scary, huh?
Yeah, but I get, like, still, I mean, it's different, I think.
Okay, agreed. what else can we hit in this game? I think Pep deserves a nod. He saw that weakness between the two center backs, and he played Phil Foden as a basically like de facto number nine, and had Gabriel Jesus coming off the left, right, and Sterling coming off the right. And Sterling can play off the right. He used to play off the right, but this season, like the past kind of two season and a half, he's played off the left. When Sane isn't there, he plays off the left, and then he was pushed to the right, and then Phil Foden is like a false nine, and that was fantastic. Guardiola saw this issue with these two center backs, this between Militao and Varane. I think they've played what 12 games together. There's not a strong partnership, right? And he saw that. And he put. I think when all of us predicted how this game would go, all of us were like, okay, you put Mahrez up against Mendy, and you put Sterling up against Carvajal. Sterling destroyed Carvajal the last time he played, so you just do that again, right? And you just play a normal style, and and that's Pep's biggest thing, right? Which is like in some occasions he has been known to overcomplicate his tactics, and it hasn't worked. And this time he did a complication. He played his actual number nine off the left, and Gabriel Jesus was fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
so what in the first leg he scores the opening goal, right, which kind of like reawakes City. He's the one who's taken down by Ramos for a red card, and he gets the free kick. In this game, he in the first instance reads the play, messes up Varane's pass, and then squares it to Sterling. Sterling scores. And for the second goal, Jesus does some fantastic finishing, and again he capitalizes off a mistake. That's 3 goals because of Jesus.
Yeah.
And now look, playing in Aguero's shadow, I guess, will always be there, right? Aguero is one of the best strikers ever. He's fantastic, and that was all. And I think all of Jesus's other aspects of his game are fantastic. You know, his mental ability, his awareness, his reading of the game, his positioning, his link-up play with the wingers and with the De Bruyne and Gundogan, and that link-up play is fantastic. His one issue that he lacked, or I don't want to say issue because I think he's still quite competent, but worse than Aguero, quite clearly, is finishing.
Yeah.
But if Guardiola isn't comfortable playing him as a number 9, playing him off the left is working. And
Exactly.
Man City has number 9s.
You get with experience.
Mm-hmm.
As a manager of Guardiola, that's what you get with experience. You know what to do in that situation.
And look, we don't know if Lyon is, or we don't know if Aguero is going to be ready by the time that Lyon game is there. He could be, he could not be. I doubt he'll start, but if he's fit, I think he'll come off the bench because I assume that they'd want him to start versus Bayern or Barca if City gets through. But I think this shows a lot of tricks that are still up City's sleeves and why they're so right up there with Bayern to win this tournament, because I think they have the capability to do it, definitely. And it was a good 2 set of games. I don't think City was at their best. I think Madrid defensively wasn't great.
Definitely seen better from both of the teams.
Yeah. Madrid's biggest strength is their defense, and without Ramos, we saw they become a liability. Quick shout out, I think Benzema was fantastic. He looked like the only.
That header was insane.
Even like earlier, he look, after Ronaldo left, it was, I think, there was this big thing where it's like, where are these goals going to come from, right? And Madrid said they're not going to come from one player. You know, we're not signing a Galactico, which eventually they did with Hazard, but we'll get to that. We're not going to sign another Galactico. We're going to go, and our players are going to basically accumulate. So you're going to see Bale step up and Benzema and Asensio. Bale obviously hasn't. Benzema has, and Asensio has just been really unfortunate with injuries. It's not Asensio's fault. He's had 2 really bad. He had an ACL against Arsenal in the Audi Cup preseason, and the season before that he had quite a bad injury as well. And the only player that really stepped up in Ronaldo's void was Benzema. And now if you look at statistics, it'll be like, oh, he's only gone up 5-6 goals, whatever. The presence he has and the attacking brain he has just shows his strength. And I think him not playing for France, the French national team, is only going to give Madrid more time with Benzema
Yeah,
and
definitely.
more like strength with him. And yeah, he was absolutely fantastic. He looked like the only threat.
Mhm.
Now let's talk about the Galactico that was meant to be the threat who was meant to cover Ronaldo, Hazard. Hazard started today, and it was sorry for the game. It was Hazard on the left, and then Benzema, and then it was I think Rodri started, right? Rodrigo.
Yeah,
Rodrigo started. He started instead of Vinicius, which was a bit of a surprise, but and um, and Hazard, what like the first 10, 15 minutes, Hazard looked really good. He looked on form. He looked comfortable,
you
which
didn't.
still far away, right, from Chelsea Hazard, but he looked good. And then you just after that, Hazard just kind of fell into a hole. And look, I think Kyle Walker had one of the best games I've seen from him in a Man City shirt. He won Player of the Match. Kyle Walker was fantastic, but Hazard just kind of disappeared. And I don't know. What do you think? What do you think of Hazard's season?
I, it's definitely disappointing, seen as he is Hazard. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, what we've seen from Hazard before. We know who this player is. Seeing him like this is really disappointing because we know he can do better. Now he has had injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
A big one, right? A huge one. He,
yeah,
he got to he got to Madrid. He didn't look fit. I think he said he wasn't fit.
and,
And then
but
this big
again,
injury.
being not fit, not ready to step up for the
Absolutely,
position.
that's his fault. That's his fault. Yeah, the fitness isn't an excuse.
Yeah. But the injury was unfortunate, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But still,
Big
you
injury.
expect.
Now,
Um,
I think
yeah.
some Madrid fans have been like, okay, throw in the towel, sell him. It didn't work. And
That's right.
that's stupid, honestly.
Yeah.
I think he knows his first season wasn't great. I think his second season is going to be really strong, and we know that.
Well, at
Uh,
least
Sorry.
you will at least improve from what
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was doing.
and no, like I think Florentino Perez recently said, because there's always the Mbappe, Haaland, all these like big player links. Dybala actually happened recently, which we'll talk about Dybala later. And and they said that we're not going to sign a big player. We're not signing a player this season, this transfer window, and that
Mhm.
means that Hazard needs to step up.
Yeah.
Hazard, if Madrid have had disappointing Champions League exits the past 2 seasons now. Obviously, the first one was a bit unfortunate. They went from Julian Lopetegui to I forget his name. Uh, I forget the second manager's name, and they had that horrific result versus Ajax. And this season has been unlucky. So I mean, it's like ever since Ronaldo left, the Champions League fell apart. That's not true. They've been unlucky. They've been quite unlucky.
Yeah.
So it's up to Hazard to step back. Actually, one piece of news we can cover about Madrid is they recalled Odegaard in the morning. What do you think that's going to play out like?
Well, I mean, he is a class player.
Mm-hmm.
He's very talented. He can definitely, he's
Some
shown what he
service,
can.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Fantastic season at Sociedad.
yeah, definitely. And I think he's gonna be. It's gonna be good for Real Madrid to recall him. He's gonna be of use to them.
Especially with
It's
that
a good
aging
move.
midfield. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
It's
he has
just
a very, very similar profile to Modric, right? And I think he's the Modric successor, basically. Because Modric is like, 35 now? 34, 35. And he's still playing at a very high level for his
course,
age.
yeah. I mean, Modric,
But
but he
it's
can't do.
everyone loves Modric, right? But he's starting to move on into his age, and you need to look at replacements. I think he is one of those. I think Odegaard should be a very good replacement for Modric eventually, but just give him a couple seasons under a player like Modric to kind of learn more and develop. And I'm a bit worried. He started off La Liga fantastically. He looked like an MVP of the league, and then he had an unfortunate injury, and then his form kind of dwindled. But he got consistent playing time, and that's what I'm hoping is going to happen at Madrid. That he's get a lot of play time to continue developing. So anyways, that was Madrid's season. I guess, happy La Liga was a huge thing for them, huge achievement for Zidane. Champions League will be a bit disappointing, and yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens next season. Man City is through now against Lyon. Bit of news about them. David Silva apparently the deal with him and Lazio is finished. So 3-year contract. Lazio are offering David Silva. How do you think that's going to
Um, it's sad. It's sad to see. Um, David Silva, he's a great player. He's world class, absolutely. And seeing him go is,
go?
you know, it's definitely not like seeing a huge player like, for example, like imagine seeing Messi leave. That's
Next
super
season.
sad.
Next season, by the way. Next season, you'll see. He's coming over.
That's,
He's coming over.
but
But
seeing
it
David Silva,
feels it feels nice, right? Almost like timely. Like it feels like a thank you for 10 years,
yes,
and we
yes,
wish you the best. It
yes,
doesn't feel like I think it's very similar with Ronaldo, right? And even Hazard, who these players that have given such long commitment to clubs and are very open when they say, I'm not gonna be here, because I think what fans hate is I'm staying, no, I'm not staying. Bye. You know? But these kind of
yeah.
players who are very open about like, I'm looking at other options. I want to go. And David Silva said
Yeah.
this was his last season.
It's not new or anything. We've seen it
Hmm.
before. We've seen it with Ibrahimovic. We've seen it with
Yeah, yeah.
no,
Good bit of business for Lazio though. Free
yeah.
transfer for a pretty quality player. Anyway, so we'll cover City more next week when after their Lyon tie on the weekend. Let's move on to my second favorite team, Juventus. Jesus Christ Almighty.
It's it's a train wreck.
Mm.
It's really disappointing.
Oh God. Yeah, let's talk about it. Okay, so Juve 1-0 loss to Lyon at home before the big break, and everyone was pretty confident. Okay, it's Juve, they'll turn around to Lyon, right? Lyon finished seventh in the French league, and and holy shit, Juventus is quite bad right now. Like
Yeah, not looking good for them
it
at
was
all.
just atrocious. Okay, first big controversial thing, the penalty. The penalty that Lyon were given was not a penalty. There was a small flick from Bernadeschi to I think it was Depay. Oh no, sorry, it's Ua. It was Ua who was taken down. A small flick, right?
Mhm.
Impossible for the ref to see from his angle. Impossible. Then, so that small flick happens, right? It catches Ua, but he keeps running. Then Ua's running, and Benteke slide tackles him, takes him down, and gets the ball cleanly, and the ref calls penalty. Now that's a clean challenge, completely clean challenge. The ref goes to VAR, and they show that it's a clean challenge. But then the ref says, "Oh look, there's this flick from Bernadeschi." It was
Okay,
horrific. It's like the ref being like, "Oh no, I meant that. I meant that. I called the penalty on a clean challenge, but I meant that."
I think the rule for a penalty in like a game is that the play stopped in like a time close to it. The ref has seen it.
But no, but he couldn't see it. That's my point. He
And
called
he
the
saw,
penalty.
he
He
saw it
called
on
the penalty on the Bentancur challenge, right, which was a clean challenge.
no penalty on that. And then he saw that and he called
But
penalty on that.
yeah, but when VAR calls, or I don't know. I'm quite certain that shouldn't have been a penalty. And
I'm
then
not sure
and
about
then
the
the
actual rules, but
hmm
I think he just saw it on VAR at that time, and then he
I
was like,
think
"Oh,
if I'm a Juve player, I'm super unhappy though. Actually, if I'm a Juve player, I'm super unhappy about everything right now. But I'm super happy about that. Unhappy about that. And then next, Juve is given a penalty when Pjanic takes a free kick and it hits Depay's hand. Depay's hand is here. It even looks it. I don't want to make this accusation. It looks like Pjanic is aiming for his hand. I mean, he might not have been. It literally looks like that. And his hand is here. He's not blocking anything. It's on his chest there, and that's given a penalty. And you're just like, God, geez, what is happening?
I mean, let's be
Both are
honest.
just horrific penalty calls.
Leagues, we have an issue with the refs, not just not just in the Champions League, not just in the Premier League. We have an issue with the referees.
With VAR, it's a big VAR issue as well.
Referees are not really
Not
understanding.
they're not using VAR how they should be.
Exactly, they're not understanding the role anymore. They're just
Mhm.
relying on VAR to do every single decision for them. Anything they see on VAR, oh, that's a penalty. I mean,
No, it's horrific. And then so Ronaldo scores that good solid Ronaldo penalty, and then Ronaldo has a fantastic goal, and it's 2-2, and you're thinking, oh my God, it's happening again. Ronaldo's gonna get a hat trick, and Juve is gonna go through, and it didn't happen.
yeah.
And you're just left watching this game feeling like, Jesus, Ronaldo is 34, and he looks like the only player that can do anything in a Juve squad, which, by the way, is not a budget squad. Juve spent big money on this squad, okay?
Yeah.
This is not a budget squad.
They're great players.
This is a Lyon 7th place French team. 7th place. Oh my God. And then like you saw that thing with Dybala where Dybala is injured, but on the bench, right? They're like, if you can play, we'll put you on. They put him on in the 75th minute and he walks off injured on the 84th. And I'm thinking, geez, you have to put Dybala on in a game like this to even have a chance to win. Like, it's just. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about Juventus because our next podcast is going to be with a special guest who we're not going to say yet, but is going to be a Italian-centric podcast. However, it's extremely disappointing to see where Juve is.
Yeah.
And we know it's not going to change. They fired Sarri. They fired Sarri right after. They brought in Pirlo, which was a bit surprising, and
surprising and actually pleasantly surprising. I think it's gonna go well for you.
but it's a budget thing. It has to be a budget thing.
It's a budget thing.
Pirlo is the happy, cheap option, right?
Pirlo, he has a thing with the transfer market. He knows the transfer market.
It's that like
predicted insane transfers no one would have thought of, right? And when he becomes manager, he has so much pulling power.
But okay. So Mike, I think you're a lot more positive on this than I am. I'm a lot more cynical about it. But in my head, they're just trying to copy what Madrid did with Zidane, which is okay. It worked out fantastically.
Yeah.
However, Pirlo has never managed before. When Zidane took over from Madrid, he had managed for 2 seasons. Okay, it wasn't a great team. It didn't get great results, but he had experience. And this just feels like Juve saying, okay, Zidane's contract is up in 1 year. We're going to go for Zidane. Pirlo is like a Band-Aid. It's a temporary. Juve needs surgery. We know it. The bone is sticking out. It's like it's bad injury. And they're just putting a Band-Aid on it for 1 year. And it just feels so bad for me when that Pochettino or Pippo Inzaghi or even Allegri, the only reason they didn't go for those kind of managers is because they knew that those managers would want to change the squad a lot, and Pirlo will work with what he's got. And it just feels like, so what? If this experiment goes bad, you sack Pirlo after a year, you say, okay, we did shit, and then what? You just go all in for Zidane? I mean, it just feels so risky, and it doesn't feel like something a top club would do.
They're in a corner right now. They have no option. It's sad, honestly.
It's pretty depressing. Should we talk about Lyon quickly? I think good result, well played.
They're doing pretty well for themselves.
They were compact, they were tight, they were good, clean defensively. They got
in League One, but that's
got pretty scary at the end. Yeah, I mean, look, I think they're gonna get slammed by City.
Yeah, obviously.
But I also thought they were gonna get slammed by Juve.
Yeah.
And I think it's an achievement just making it to the quarterfinal. Like they did better than Liverpool.
With Juve, it's different because Juve. They're
it's the bones of a squad. Yeah, I mean, they just announced what Matuidi is going to Inter Miami at the end of that, which is a good transfer.
They're thinking of a swap deal with Arsenal.
Yeah, I did see this. for Lacazette, no?
Yeah, for like I said, yeah.
Lacazette for I
I
don't
think that would
remember.
be pretty good for Arsenal, honestly. For
I think
Douglas
it's good.
Costa.
I think Higuain is. Oh yeah. I think because Higuain is.
Yeah, Higuain.
Oh, let's not talk about Higuain. Yeah, I mean Douglas Costa's got a lot of attention recently because we know that Arsenal want him, and
When he just started in Bayern, he was insane.
yeah, look, I don't think he's been great at Juve. He's had injury issues, and I don't think the Juve system really suits him. But if the Sancho thing is dead, like some of us think it is, how at least Dortmund are saying it is, I think he could be a really good option for. I think him and Usman Dembele are the two big links for United to cover that Sancho role. So let's see. I think it's pretty exciting. Next
Well,
game.
United.
Hmm.
Do you know their game against FC Copenhagen?
Oh my, yikes!
Their possession was like I think it was 55-45 as well.
Yeah, and it finished 75-25.
How disappointing!
Oh, I mean, look, they played exactly how you do on FIFA, man. It's just a typical silly FIFA tactics. Just to try and hold possession for as long as you can because you're scared. No, I mean, look, we said it all season. United are not good in possession. United
Yeah.
go up against big teams and they play 11 at the back basically. And
Mhm.
then Bruno came and then they played like freaking Bournemouth, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, they're gonna win the Champions League!" They signed one player, he's amazing. No, it's not how it works. Okay, they're still bad in possession. They don't have the players. Why do you think they're United is linked with half the market? Actually, no, that's us. But they're look, it's United's rebuilding right now. A lot of these big clubs, Juve, United, Barca, are in these rebuilding phases.
That's what happens when you go from a generation to another generation.
Hmm.
All the clubs, all the big
And you
clubs
don't
start.
plan well. This is what happens when you throw money at big name players and they're not the right deals, and then they leave and you lose money. I mean, what? Should we list them off? Okay. Bad
That is
United.
exactly.
I didn't
Wait,
mean to go to. We didn't mean to go to United here, but we're just gonna go
this is exactly why Klopp is a genius because
recruiting. This is
his,
exactly why recruiting is so important.
his net spend is 70 million, and he has this amazing squad. Are you kidding me?
Look, it's all about. Look, okay. Should we list some United failures in the past 10 years? Okay, Falcao, Schweinsteiger, Di Maria, Alexis Sanchez. There's one more.
Ibrahimovic.
No, Ibrahimovic was a success.
Well,
Ibrahimovic was fantastic. Schweinsteiger played. No, Schweinsteiger was way past his prime and didn't do much. For the amount of money they spent, they didn't get a good return. Okay, so that's four. There's one more that I'm missing.
I don't think so.
Yeah, Luke Shaw kind of. But I mean, like he's still there. He's not a big. Anyways, yeah. So just bad signings, and it all comes down to that. United is where they are because of the bad signings, and no matter how you want to spin the narrative of where they are right now, United's a long way off Liverpool and City, and maybe Chelsea next season. Let's see if they can sign a new goalkeeper and a defender, maybe. But they're a long way off, and these kind of like paper fixes, like United not getting Sancho, is embarrassing. It's extremely embarrassing and extremely telling of where United are. This is what the second fantastic youngster that has not chosen. Can you imagine if this happened 15 years ago? Can you imagine if they went to Ronaldo in 2003 and Ronaldo didn't sign for them? Ronaldo's like, no, I don't want to play United. Sancho and Haaland have both said basically, I mean, I know Haaland said he didn't want to and Sancho wants to, but Dortmund can't agree. But this is Man United. They should walk in and take whoever they want.
To be an absolute like a monument in the football world. Now it's
No, and look, financially they're still doing really well, right? They
financially
make they make
no
huge profits.
no one wants to join a dying team like this.
But no, the football is just atrocious.
What happens to big signings in United, and they don't want to do it.
Oh my God, look at Di Maria. It's just an absolute. Oh, we lost Sully for a second. It's just me. Yeah, I mean, look at Di Maria, right? Who was like came in for one season and was just absolutely unhappy, hated it, hated being in United, moved on, and look how much PSG have gotten out of it. It's just, oh, he's back. It's just absolutely, just shows where United. Anyways, let's move on. I don't want to talk about United too much. We're going to save United for the Prem podcast. The next big game, which was yesterday, was PSG Atalanta. PSG take it 2-1. Obviously, these are knockouts, so there's no aggregate score. So PSG take it 2-1. A goal in the 90th minute and a goal in the 93rd minute. And what a game. This was a good game. This was a good game. And who was your man of the match?
I can't say. I mean, really, I can't really pick one, you know?
Okay, I mean, so for okay, I'll give you my reasoning for mine. For me, it was Neymar. I think Neymar was fantastic in every single thing except finishing.
Yeah, I agree.
He finished like he literally was. It was. I can't even think of a metaphor for his finishing. His finishing was atrocious. And that's. He finished like what?
Firmino does.
Oh yeah, at Anfield. No, it was absolutely horrific, and I know immediately the critics, right? The critics are gonna immediately say that look, Neymar is PSG's version of Messi, of Mane, and I mean Liverpool's biggest players, Van Dijk. But attacking wise, Neymar is of the caliber of players like Messi, Ronaldo, Mane, and Salah, De Bruyne, Aguero. Who else? Dybala. He's of that caliber, and those players finished those chances, and he didn't. But
again,
go ahead.
I mean, can we really say that he's used to that striker position?
I mean, he's an elite player. He can play there, no problem. His finishing is usually fantastic. But
I mean, still, you see that from wingers.
Yeah, I guess. But okay, so to counteract that, why he was my man of the match, I think he looked like at times the only PSG player that could do anything with the ball, and he looked dangerous in possession. I mean, there's a statistic which came out today in the morning, which was he had 17 dribbles, which is the highest for any player in Champions League history.
Yeah, Neymar is he's phenomenal on the ball.
He had a. It's weird though, right? Because you're like, he's my man of the match, but he wasn't that great in one big aspect. And I think Mbappe was fantastic, but Mbappe only played for about 15 minutes because of his injury. And the rest of PSG was pretty average. I mean, Icardi looked bad. Icardi, like his link up play was pretty bad, honestly. Like I was gonna say horrific again. I feel like I've used it too much this podcast. It was just bad. It was rough. And Sarabia just didn't look settled in, and it's just the PSG kind of looked sluggish. And when Atalanta scored that goal, I'm thinking, oh shit, the Parisian newspapers are gonna be blowing up in the morning with another PSG failure. And then those last 10 minutes happened, right? And you could tell that as soon as Mbappe came on, and they made some changes, Atalanta just looked so tired from the style of football that they play. They just looked so exhausted that
Atalanta was relying on is, getting early goals and then just
how Atalanta play is that very intelligent attacking football. It's not park the bus. Atalanta do not park the bus. They go up against world-class teams and they will play aggression. They're an aggressive team that creates.
aggression, but they couldn't keep playing aggression.
exactly, because that's where they you tie down, right? After like 80 minutes, Atlanta's played so many games that the legs get it, right? And now this is the big debate. So they parked the bus, right? And it didn't work. PSG broke the bus basically. They
That's what
slammed in, they punched the engine, they ran out.
that's what
But
Neymar does.
but however, do you think that they should have stuck to that attacking style? Because I personally think parking the bus in that situation is correct. However, I've seen some people saying that they should have kept playing that attacking style.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Neymar is a player that, you know, he's he's a dribbling player. What he does on the field is get past defenders. That's what he
Mhm.
does. So I think parking the bus may not have been the best option for them. They could have they obviously had to play defensive, no
Mhm.
question. But they could have played like a different kind of defensive, like the defensive that you see City playing, for example.
Yeah, but I mean, like, your heart goes out to them, right? You know, like a fantastic season, and then to lose two goals in the last in a
Yeah,
span of what 5 minutes, it's rough, right? And we should remember Atalanta have had an amazing season. This
yeah.
team is not a high budget team. They do not make big signings, and they've
If
scored what 104 goals this season.
players, they would have done great things this Champions
No,
League.
Atlanta can be very proud. And for PSG, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit worried, honestly. Like
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
see what happens. I think Neymar did an Instagram post today, and he said 2 more games till we win everything. And I'm thinking, does this does
I don't,
this does
I don't
this
think
kind of football beat Bayern or beat City or even beat Atletico Madrid? You know,
I don't
like
think so.
it's something I consider. And I think Mbappe looked so good, right? But
Mhm.
do you play Mbappe for full game? Because what if he gets injured? And what if it's a long-term injury then? You know, and I think Icardi needs to show up because Icardi, they paid the money for him. He's theirs now, and Cavani's gone, and you need Icardi to show up. And Icardi was pretty useless in this game. So yeah, I mean, like, congrats PSG making semis is a big thing, but I am definitely worried for them moving forward. Next game, let's preview. So we have Atleti versus Leipzig in about what's the time now? 6:30. In about 4 hours. Um, Leipzig without their big man. Werner is chilling in London right now. He's reclining, got his feet on the table. Do you think Leipzig has a chance against Atleti?
Honestly, I don't think Leipzig are going to be able to get through. I
Do you
don't think they have.
think that it's close? Okay, what's your score prediction?
Like at best for
Mm-hmm.
Leipzig, worst for Atletico, I'd say a
No,
2-1.
in general, in general. Okay, so no, but like, what's your game prediction overall?
What do you mean?
Like, gun to your head, someone says who's winning. What's your prediction?
Atletico,
Okay, but
easy.
what's the score? 2-0, 2-1.
2-0, 2-1,
Okay.
something like that.
All right, you know what? We're gonna make a bet on this. I'm gonna say Atletico wins 1-0.
1-0.
Yeah.
Mm. It's possible if Simeone decides to slow down later in the game,
Mm-hmm.
like start attacking and then slow down later in the game. That is possible for 1-0, but I think Leipzig are going to be tired by the end of the game. He will need
Okay,
to score.
so what are you saying now? What's your score prediction? 2-1?
No, I with mine. 2-0, I think.
2-0. Okay. All right, it's on. We're gonna decide what the winner gets. Whoever's closer. If it's 0-0 and it goes to penalties, I win. No, I win. Come on. And the last game we'll touch on because we hit City Lyon a bit is Bayern Barca. Does Griezmann start?
Big game.
Does Griezmann start?
Huh?
Does Griezmann start?
I think he has to. I think they don't have an option. Even though he doesn't really do much, but they still have to. But here's the thing. this is going to be a different game. This is not going to be about how good the players are, how good they play. There is so much past to Champions League Barcelona versus Bayern. It's
You mean so much Boateng getting destroyed? That's what you mean?
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, there is a long
They're
backstory to
two
it.
huge teams,
Exactly.
gigantic teams. It's our first.
They faced
It's
off in the Champions League almost every year.
yeah,
Um,
close. Kind of.
I think it's gonna be more than just a
But
game for
this
them.
is, I think this is the first time that Barca are going in as underdogs, right? Pretty clear underdogs. I think everyone's saying Bayern's going to smash them unless Messi does something
Yeah.
amazing, which I mean he can do, right? It's Messi, but Bayern should win this, and that's why I think I'm a lot
I would really love to see Messi, like show
score
his
9 goals, score
yeah, yeah.
11 goals in 20 minutes, just like they pass him the ball and he's taking long shots out of the box. Um,
I'd love.
but look, I think Griezmann has to start, and for a different reason to you. I think because you're saying Griezmann has to start because he just needs to. I'm saying Griezmann needs to start because I think in a game like this, Griezmann has so much experience and quality in these big games, and he does step up. Where I think maybe if Barca win, it'll be because of Messi and it'll be because of Griezmann. Because Griezmann's going to make something big, and it's
Griezmann,
gonna change his Barca future.
Griezmann,
However,
Griezmann has had the entire season to
oh
do
no, no,
that.
no, okay, but this is big. This is the biggest game of the season for Barca.
So I mean, it's
Okay,
if
okay,
he
okay,
was
okay. I'll check in a caveat. I'll check in a caveat.
what?
A counterpoint.
Okay.
If Bayern win and Griezmann has a shit game, then there are going to be some serious questions asked. Okay, so like for example, if Bayern smash this, I think Setyen's gone,
Yeah.
sacked, just gone. How and I think if Barca win this, then he could most probably he'll keep his job for next season at least.
Yeah.
But no, there's big stakes on this game. Like it's this could be Tiago's last game for Bayern. There's a lot of stuff happening in this game. A lot of like I guess
Again,
sub
look at who
stories.
Lewandowski and Muller. Come on.
I mean
What do you
Lewandowski, Müller, Tiago, Kimmich,
so hard
Alaba,
so
and then I mean yeah, but you could do the same for Barca. I mean Messi, De Jong, Suarez, Griezmann. It's a big game, and look, Barca are not in a great place right now. We know that. But we know what those attacking players can do.
yeah.
Okay, and that's where I think even Bayern's probably a bit scared. They're like we're
Yeah.
favorites, but Barca is
Not
not used to being underdogs. People expect Barca to go out. They could come out and have an amazing look. It's not a 2 game thing, right? It's a knockout. And Messi in a knockout game is terrifying for any team.
yeah.
So let's see about this. Uh, what should we talk about now?
Liverpool. Did we talk about Liverpool winning the league? The ceremony?
Yeah, we spoke about that. It was okay. It was okay. I think. Congrats, Liverpool. It was
Yeah, yeah.
something. Oh, let's talk about let's talk about the city. 'Cause I forgot to mention this in the city section. Or like we'll talk about some transfers. What do you think of Ake and Torres to City?
Um okay, here's the thing. Does
Oh
City
God,
need
you're gonna be negative on this? Are we gonna switch? I'm very positive on this. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Go.
does City need a new left back?
Left back. He's a center back.
Sorry, center back.
Absolutely. Are
I
you
think
joking?
you need a new center back, but not a center back like Torres.
Are you feeling okay? Ake is a center back. Torres is a right winger. Okay, he's been kicked out. All right, I'll give my 2 cents then, because Sully's brain is lagging. That's what happens when we don't have a guest. He blows up. I think it's a really good move for both players. You've got Ferran Torres on a bargain, 21 million for a player that's very, very promising. And I don't think he'll play every game. I mean, he could. I mean, I don't know. But he's competing with Mahrez and Silva for that right wing position. But it's an absolute bargain deal. And Ake, if you can get a quality left back with Laporte, which I think Ake can be, he's easily Bournemouth's best player, right? And he's coming out of a relegated Bournemouth side, right? So they're going to get him for cheaper than what his market worth is, which they did. And for the amount of potential that he has, okay, he's back. His brain is reset. For the amount of potential that Ake has, I think he's going to be an amazing player for Man City. I think you're getting a quality player.
Three players. So,
Right, you
again,
go.
Ake,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's the center back that City need. City need a stonewall center back.
Yeah, but he. Oh, okay. I disagree. I think he's really gonna. I think he's a very look. I think they need to make no. Okay. So I think he's not the number one center back, right? That's Laporte. I think that Ake is an extremely solid number 3 center back. Meaning, look, in a center back partnership, right? We're gonna assume that Fernandinho moves back to CDM. We're probably getting rid of John Stones, and Otamendi just is out of favor. I'm quite sure that City's gonna do business on another center back.
Yeah.
Whether that's Alaba, whether that's Koulibaly, whether that's Skriniar, I think a big profile center back is gonna come in for City. Mm-hmm. And then that means Ake is a number 3. He's like what Matip, Joel Matip at Liverpool, a solid number 3.
I don't think he's necessary. They could be getting a solid instead.
No, but we know that they're in the transfer market. They're gonna sign another center back. If they don't sign another center back, I'm concerned. But Ake as a third center back is or like a role player is a quality signing, and it's pretty top class. So, I think I'm a lot higher on them than you. Let's it's I don't know. I feel like I'm quite excited, honestly, for City. I think that there have been reports they're going for Lautaro.
It's a big signing, definitely.
Mm-hmm. The reports that they've gone for Lautaro and they've gone for what's his name again? I guess we're back. We had a bit of a connection issue between us. Unfortunately, Sully's living within a bunker, and occasionally when fighter jets fly over the bunker, the Wi-Fi signal gets kind of messed up. So it's okay. Anyways, we were talking about some of City's targets, which are Lautaro Martinez, who's been one that has been named around a lot now since that Barcelona thing has fallen through, and João Felix actually came up recently, which I
don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think he has a pretty big release clause too. I think they're looking at replacements for Aguero. I would love if Lautaro Martinez came to Man City. Oh my God, that'd be top class. I think it would be such a steal from Barca too. It'd be amazing. Anyways, what's another? Oh, didn't you guys sign a player recently?
We signed a left back from Olympiacos. I don't really remember his name. It's really weird, but he looks capable. I mean, Olympiacos players are actually really decent. You know, most of them.
Yeah, they develop talent well.
Yeah, and he can grow in the club. You know, because he's not going to replace Robertson anytime soon. Robertson is still going to be our number 1, but you know, he can grow for that position. You
know. Spurs signed Højbjerg from Southampton for 20 million, which is pretty. I don't see how he fits in. I think Spurs have so many holding midfield players, where it's like Ndombele, Sissoko, Wanyama, Winks. It's like, oh my God, I feel like they need center backs and like wingers and more aggressive positions rather than actually maybe not wingers. I think Tottenham for attack is good, but they need more aggressive midfielders, right? Like more
And
attacking midfielders.
another transfer. I'm not sure if this one's died down or what, but Tiago to Liverpool.
Oh yeah, that's big. Yeah, let's talk about that for a bit, shall we?
Came up and then it kind of died down, but I think it's still up.
It's come back up. Look, I think Tiago's definitely leaving Bayern at the
Yeah.
end of the season, or I think he really wants to. And if they win the Champions League, it'd be a nice send off. But I think definitely Liverpool would. I think Liverpool need a player like Tiago to keep it. Because what
Our midfield is strong, but it's not strong
it's
enough.
it's Liverpool's weakest area is their midfield,
Definitely.
and that's the one place that you can. And look, Henderson's getting older, Lallana's gone, Milner's getting older, so you need new kind of. And look, Thiago isn't that young anymore. He's like what 28, 29. But he brings something that Liverpool doesn't really have, which is a very competent attacking midfielder. That was what Keita was meant to be. Or I mean, like Oxlade-Chamberlain does it sometimes.
Austin Chamberlain and Wijnaldum are kind of the attacking.
Yeah, sorry,
two.
Wijnaldum too. I think Tiago is the replacement for Wijnaldum. I think Wijnaldum either could be sold or will leave on a free. I don't think he wants to renew his contract, from what I'm aware.
Yeah, I don't think so either. He's great for the club, but he can
Yeah,
do
no,
better.
Wijnaldum's class. It's just I think Tiago would be the replacement to Wijnaldum. Sorry, I forgot to say Wijnaldum. But yeah, I don't think Tiago's a good move. What other big transfers have happened?
There's the biggest, I think, right now is Juve offering Ronaldo to
PSG.
Barca.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. I don't think Ronaldo will move.
I don't think so either. I think it's really
There
far.
there was that Barca link, and there's PSG as well. There've been like two pretty big links.
And Messi.
I don't think either will happen. I think Ronaldo's gonna finish off at Juve, and then I think he'll probably go to MLS. There's a chance he could go back to Portugal. Probably MLS is where he would finish up, and then he'll retire at 55. But I think, yeah, I don't think Ronaldo gets another big move to a big club. I don't think it happened.
Where do we think Messi's gonna finish?
Look, I think he wants to finish at Barca, but if Barca gets smashed like 4-5-0 against Bayern, Messi's gonna look around and gonna go like, shit, I have this to look forward to. And I think he could leave on a look. If Messi pushes for a move, he'll get a move. If Messi says, I want to leave this season, because Barca know that. Okay, look, actually, I'll take that back. I don't think he'll leave this season. If he says, I want to leave, then at the end of next season, when his contract's up, he'll walk on a free transfer.
Yeah.
And then the floodgates would be open for Messi.
Yeah. There's a link with Inter right now. But I
could see that, but I don't think he'd go to Inter. I don't think Inter is just. I think because the link is there's quite a strong relationship between Lautaro and Messi.
And on a different, not just players, what's his name? Arsene Wenger could be
Wenger.
He could be managing Barcelona soon.
I don't think. I think that they've put a lot more. I think Wenger will manage again, but I think that a lot more. Because there's the big next year is the big Barca re-election, right? And it's two. So imagine I'm gonna give an analogy. So you have Democrats and Republicans, right? Right now, for Barca, the Republicans are in charge. If the Democrats win, we know Xavi is gonna be a manager. Xavi is gonna manage Barca if the Democrats win. I mean, it's an example, guys. Barca is not a government, but so if the Democrats win, Xavi's in. If they don't, the manager that the Republicans want, they will appoint. So whether that's after Setien goes, that could be who knows, that could be Pochettino, that could be Allegri, all of these, that could be Thomas Tuchel maybe if he leaves PSG. And that's the kind of thing right now. It's like we have no clue where Barca's managing is or who's going to manage Barca for the next little bit. So
bit of a train wreck right now.
Yeah, I mean, like it's there's so many questions, like what happens to Suarez, there's big questions. Another transfer that we kind of didn't really cover is all the Cavani links. Yeah, there was originally the thing with with Newcastle, and then Newcastle takeover fell out, and then
Mm-hmm.
people were like, okay, maybe Leeds, the newly promoted Leeds could get him. But from what I've seen recently, it's all been about Benfica.
Oh, really?
A lot of links with so Benfica signed Vertonghen in the morning
Mm-hmm.
from Tottenham, and now they from what I've seen are the heaviest link with Cavani, and I mean,
Mm.
I think it'd be good for them. I think Cavani's
Yeah.
a quality player still. Um,
Can we talk about Vertonghen for a second? I feel like Vertonghen could have had a huge career if he
he
was.
played like 8 years at Tottenham.
Yeah, if he would have moved earlier, he would have.
I think
I
you
think
can say that about every Tottenham player, though.
no, but he's a class defender. He could have done better, I think.
He was a world class. Yeah, him and Alderweireld at one point were the best partnership in all. Okay, I think look that argument that if they left they'd be so much more successful literally applies to every single Tottenham player. No offense to
Mm.
Tottenham, I know we have some watchers, Mr. Norris. I'm sorry, but like look, there is Tottenham has made Champions League final and they usually finish in the top four. That's it, and that's good for a decent amount of clubs. But usually that's what happens with Tottenham. But all of these big players, right? Son, Kane, Dele Alli, at one point, Lo Celso, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, these bigger players don't find the success there that they're looking for. Like that's why every single look, I think there's a good chance that next season Harry Kane will leave Tottenham.
Yeah. Yep.
And honestly, he should have left earlier because I'm trying to find out how to say this in a nice way, but that club has no future right now. I mean, look you know you can put as much faith into Mourinho as you want. That's fine. I think Mourinho's still a quality manager.
Great manager, but there's only so much you can do, you know.
Exactly with that. And look, I think they hit their ceiling was that Champions League final. You know, no one expected it. I think it's still bullshit that they got there. I think City should have beat them. City should have beat them in the quarterfinals, and City had some unlucky calls. But their ceiling was that Champions League final. And then you look at them in the Premier League this season. I mean, one game that sticks out in my head was when they played Sheffield United. They got smashed 3-0. And I was like, Jesus, this is a Champions League final team. From Champions League final to the Europa League. Like just it's rough. It's really rough. Tottenham's not a good place. Let's start with Chelsea because some insane Chelsea talks are happening. So they want Kepa out, and the three big links for goalkeepers that I've seen are first choice Oblak, second choice Onana, and third choice is Nick Pope from Burnley. All three are quality goalkeepers. I think they probably go in that order in terms of how I would rank them.
Obviously on top of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Be the biggest, but I don't think Atletico would let him go.
I don't think Atletico would let him go for an affordable price that Chelsea could do right now.
Yeah, and
because
I think Onana would actually.
Onana's class. I think Onana's going to get a move from Ajax. It's going to be to a big club, whether it's Chelsea, whether it's Barcelona, which could happen. Onana's going to get a big. You heard it here first, guys. Onana's going to get a big move. Okay, he deserves a big move. And Nick Pope is a very, very good goalkeeper as well. I think he will be England's number one at the Euros. I think Jordan Pickford is like I think look, if I'm England, I'm asking Sully if he can get an English passport because I'd rather play you as a goalkeeper instead of Jordan Pickford and some of the stuff I've seen Pickford do. An England international who is just my goodness, I despise Pickford as a player.
The England squad that's coming up is going to be one of the strongest.
Oh yeah, the talent in that. I mean, you look at Phil Foden, you look at Sancho, you look at Rashford. It's a very, very talented squad. Look at Maguire, Maguire.
Yeah, Maguire, and then we have
Trent.
Oh my God, Trent. We have Robertson doesn't go to England. Anyways,
Scottish.
We have
Okay,
grown.
okay. So I have a thing for you, right? Take away your Liverpool bias. Okay, no Liverpool bias here. Do you, you're what, Gareth Southgate? Do you play Wan-Bissaka or do you play Trent?
Trent every day. Here's the
Even if you
reason.
think England has a shittier defense,
Huh?
even if you think England's defense is kind of shitty, you still play Trent?
That's a good point. Wait, who would the center backs be? Who do you think the center backs would be?
Oh, okay. Stones and what's his name, Maguire.
Stones and Maguire.
Well, you don't play Wan-Bissaka as a center back?
No.
I think Walker can play there as well if he needs to.
Honestly, that's tough because Trent is. Oh yeah, I think you do play Wan-Bissaka there.
If you're defensive.
Not because he's the better player, but because he's the more defensive one.
Defensive player, yeah. And how England play is like against top teams usually is quite defensive. Okay, interesting. I think that about wraps it up for this week's transfer talk. Let's hit the
Dream
what?
team.
Oh, actually, one thing we forgot to cover about Chelsea that I wanted to mention is Havertz. So from what I've heard from my sources, this deal will happen. Now, I don't know if Chelsea have. How much is he going to go for?
How much is he going to?
I think Leverkusen want like above 100 million. I think Chelsea will probably get him in that space. Maybe if they're lucky, 90.
Yeah,
but I mean, he's a world-class elite player for his age. For his age, he is elite, and he will be one of the best midfielders in the world. He probably already is, but he's just going to continue to grow. And my only issue is you've signed Werner, you've signed Havertz, or you will sign Havertz, I think, and you signed Ziyech. Now, your defense needs rebuilding. You need a new left back. You need a new center back. Do you have enough? I mean, do you have enough capital to be like dishing out that much money? And new goalkeeper. How much money are Chelsea going to spend? I mean, like, okay, I'm a City fan. I'm not going to say anything. Spend as much as you want to be competitive. I believe that. But I mean, if Chelsea finish third next season with the squad they have, is that a disappointment? Like, it's crazy. I mean, for me, it's exciting. Look, I think the Premier League this season was so boring. I think Man City were not at the top, and I think we're addressing that. Next season, we're going to be back there. Liverpool were great, and the other teams were pretty all of them were okay. Like, Chelsea had a transfer ban. They did better than we expected. United were up and down. Tottenham went down. Wolves were as consistent as they usually are. They got a bit unlucky at the end.
Actually, for a part of it.
Sheffield was a pleasant surprise, but the overall level wasn't great, right? And for me, as a City fan, as someone more than a City fan, as a football fan, I want to see competition, right? I want to see. If that means Man City wins less, I guess I don't like that, but it means a better league.
Yeah.
And the Premier League this season was not as good as it has been because there was one team ahead and all others were. And look, personally, I don't think there's a big. The point gap between Man City and Liverpool does not reflect the team gap between Man City and Liverpool.
No, definitely no. I mean, Man City have a world-class team, and so does Liverpool.
And that point gap doesn't represent, right? But that's how rough the Premier League was. And I think with Chelsea getting better, hopefully with Man United getting better, even though missing out on Sancho, it just means that we're getting a better league. And the state of the league is important.
For Chelsea to have a successful season next season, they need to be either second or very, very close to second.
With the amount of money they're spending. If we're saying that Havertz goes through, if we're saying they get a new center back, if we're saying they get a new left back and they get a new goalkeeper, it's like what? 400 million? Something like that, close to? It's a lot. It's a lot of money. And it's like what is the accepted success, right, of the amount of money you're spending?
Yeah.
All right, anyways, that's transfer talk done for this week. Let's move on to the player of this team of the season, and the player of the season position that we're doing is left back today. So let's check out some names.
Well, okay.
Okay, so Robertson,
Robertson,
Jordi Alba,
Tiago, Chilwell,
uh,
Ben Chilwell.
Chilwell,
Um,
um, Ferland Mendy, Marcelo,
yep,
uh,
that covers the top.
Alexandro.
Uh, Not as top as the
No,
rest, you know.
okay, yeah, fair. So I think it's between like probably those six. Oh, Theo
Between
Hernandez. Theo Hernandez deserves a very. He's been fantastic in a bad Milan side. Theo Hernandez has been absolutely fantastic. Actually, sidetrack for a second. What's your opinion on Çalhanoğlu? Wait, did
who?
I say that correct? Çalhanoğlu. I have a Turkish friend who corrected me.
Çalhanoğlu.
But yeah, what
Um,
do you think of him? Because I was reading some transfer talk about him recently, and I got my curiosity. Where do you rate Çalhanoğlu?
he's okay for where he is right now. He's
As a 25-year-old winger.
he's doing really well for himself for where he is right now. He
You mean
could be
at
doing,
Milan? Hmm.
huh?
You mean at Milan? At Milan?
Yeah,
At Milan?
yeah. Again, saying, oh, if he moves, he'll do better. We don't know for sure. Maybe he grows at Milan and becomes their star player. That is possible.
I
Um,
guess. I think he's a good serviceable player. I saw some links. I remember a couple years ago there were those like links to Barcelona, and I was like, okay, I don't think that happens on his body of work. But I think he's developed. I actually really like him. I know some people, and especially like some pundits and football experts, really don't like Çalhanoğlu. But I think he's
yeah, no,
quite a
he's
solid
yeah.
player. Anyways, sidetrack. Let's get back to the left back.
I think
So
our top two out of the players we named would definitely be Jordi Alba and Robertson. I think.
yeah, I mean, yeah, if we were doing top four, it'd be Robertson, Alba, Chilwell, and Theo Hernandez. So I would remove Chilwell and Theo Hernandez. Um,
Yep.
I'm probably gonna say Alba.
Same. To be honest, I mean, for what he does for his team, he does more for his team than Robertson
When he
does.
when he when he yeah, because I think the amount of work he does going forward and defensively, and the amount of times where I've watched Barca and thought, okay, him and Messi are the only players doing anything. I think
Yeah.
for this season, we're gonna quickly say last week or on our last it's been a while, guys. Sorry, I was moving. It's been a bit hectic. We're back to a release schedule. But on our last podcast edition, we said Varane as our center back, and not because of the game he had versus Madrid versus City, but we talked about it and we decided to put Ramos in there because we
Yeah.
felt that on the body of work Ramos had this season, he's more promising.
Yeah.
So just that on the side. But yeah, I think it'd have to be Jordi Alba. I think for how up and down that Barca side is and the amount of consistency that he brings, yeah, I think I'd give Jordi Alba. So you're agreeing with me as well?
Yep.
All right, so that means that for the locker room's official team of the season, our left back is officially Jordi Alba from Barcelona. Which so that's our back line finished. We're moving on. We're moving on to midfielders. So what do you think of that back line? So you have Jordi Alba as a left back. You have Ramos and Van Dijk, and then you have Trent Alexander-Arnold as right back, and you have Alisson as a goalkeeper. What do you think of that back five?
That is scary.
That's something, isn't it? Can you imagine if that? How much do you think that's worth? That back five?
I mean, Van Dijk alone is what, 100?
Has to be what, like upwards of like, okay. So Alisson is 120, I think.
Yeah.
Van Dijk is 120.
How much?
How much is Alba worth? I'm trying to think.
How much is Van Dijk cost?
Oh, we forgot to mention Alphonso Davis as a left back, who definitely deserves definitely for the amount of growth, as he looks like one of the most promising left backs in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how much is that back five worth? I'm trying to think. I think somewhere close to like 500 million, right?
In January of 2018, Van Dijk was worth 75 million.
Okay, he's not worth that anymore. 120. I'd say 120, 130.
Yeah, 120.
Yeah, I think that back five is like easily more than 500 million.
Yeah.
And that's why we're gonna make it happen for Manchester City, okay? With Laporte, we're gonna play 3 at the back, and those 2 as wing backs. That's a back 5 that you park the bus with that back 5. You say good luck to the opposition. You throw them the keys.
Right. Jordi Alba. How much do you
Jordi
think?
Alba's like 15, 16. I think he's like what, 29, right? So he still has time.
Yeah, he has like 4 or 5 years in him. I'd say maybe like 80 or something.
80? Yeah, no, I mean it's easily more than 500 million. It's a quality back 5. That's world class, easily elite. That's an elite back 5. All right. Anyways, I think we're gonna put a bookend on this podcast. Thank you so much, Sully, and thank you so much for sticking out with us on this. We've had a couple of technical difficulties, but I promise we will be back very soon, hopefully within the next couple days, talking about all things Serie A and covering the Champions League games, the quarterfinals. Yeah. Thanks so much. Please like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram. The link is in the bio. You can find me and Sully, our Instagrams in the description. Thanks so much. Hope you're having a great day. See you soon. Bye.